Happy hump day, everybody, and welcome back to Brown Bag Bets, powered by BetSperts. We are your daily dose of quick hit handicapping and sports betting picks. I'm Alex Christensen, and there's a little trouble down on Andy's farm. So back again for 2 days in a row, Mr. Matt Rooney. Mr. Rooney, how was the White Sox game? I saw they won. Luis Robert was all over the place. Did you have fun?
Yeah, there was actually no trouble on Andy's farm. I just begged him to come back on the show today so I can talk about my experience at opening day and then my Luis Robert just taking over yesterday's game. Hope everything's good with Andy. Game was great, a lot of fun. Luis Robert covered my bet for me. I think my baseball bets went 2-1 yesterday, but Luis Robert went deep. He stole a couple bases. He made a leaping catch in center field that saved a couple of runs. Basically won them the baseball game yesterday. So I'm feeling really good about my plus 2,500 AL MVP ticket with Luis Robert.
I could dig it. That's a pretty solid game. Hitting dingers, stealing bases, all over the place. So I'm glad you had fun. The White Sox had a good start to their season. I mean, are you really optimistic? Are we going to have the White Sox World Series nonsense to deal with in however many months it is until then?
You know, it's the same. It's the same as every other team in baseball. If they can stay healthy or relatively healthy, they're going to have a chance. They're absolutely going to need to add a starting pitcher, whether that's early on in the season, which they said they might actually be trying to do. There's talks about them going and trying to get Frankie Montas from Oakland, or whether it comes at the trade deadline. They're going to have to get healthy. They're going to have to add a starting pitcher. But I mean, when they're healthy, their lineup 1 through 9 can compete with anybody. On paper, the Dodgers probably have the best lineup in baseball, but right after that, I would put the White Sox right up there with anybody. Dan's Braves are right there too. I think coming from the American League, I think the White Sox have as good of a chance as anybody to represent the AL in the World Series if they can get healthy and stay healthy. Hopefully, those injuries that they've suffered early on this year are kind of getting them out of the way now.
The nice part about day baseball is you could make it home in time to watch those basketball games. Did you get to see either one?
You know, I didn't tune into much of them last night. I was kind of tracking them on social media on ESPN. I got home later, was making some dinner, was catching up on some work. Didn't have too much time to tune in, but I did see quite a buzz on social media about Anthony Edwards going off and Patrick Beverley just being the king of the celebration. Why don't you tell me about that a little bit? What did I miss there?
And you can see the chat's already all over this. Yes, Anthony Edwards will be on my list for MIP candidates next year. We'll get to that in a little bit. But I mean, the Brooklyn Nets game and the Cavs was a pretty solid game overall. Brooklyn started out fast. It was hard to tell at the end if they were grinding out the game or if things were falling apart a little bit. It's troublesome to see how bad that defense can be when it's really struggling. I mean, the Cavaliers had great looks all night. As you can see, my dog's very excited about that as well. The Clippers-Minnesota game was just a hilarious mess. I don't know if it was good, but gosh, was it exciting. It was up and down. A woman glued herself to the floor at one point.
How long did that delay the game?
I think it took
because I assume once you get her off the floor, you have to kind of you have to scrub that glue off the floor too.
It was surprisingly short given what they said had happened. Again, Kevin Harlan, the ultimate professional, just consummate professional work from him. Just talking through the broadcast like nothing's going on, and it didn't even occur to me that they had taken like a 3-4 minute break. I was like, what's going on? Why aren't we going to timeout? And then he made some sort of joke about not having to see Reggie Miller's Wendy's commercials anymore. And I was like, okay, we're stalling now. Like, what the heck's going on? But yeah, it was, we got back to business pretty quickly, and I guess that's what the Timberwolves needed. They responded pretty quickly, grabbed the lead, although the Clippers came back. It was a pretty back and forth game. I mean, Pat Beverley at the end of the day was the real winner as you go through social media and look at some of his stuff. He apparently really had it out for his Clippers former teammates.
I really had I again didn't see much of the celebration, but kind of heard about it. It was probably a little bit over the top, but I get it. The Timberwolves are a young team who've never really won that big of a game before. Beverly hates the Clippers and holds a grudge over anybody he ever thinks has wronged him ever. And if the Clippers let him walk, then he holds a big grudge against them. I'm sure he was just pumped they won. Nothing wrong with that. That's probably the only big win they're going to get this playoff. So good for you. Happy for you.
Don't ever rag on people for being excited. Again, it's been a long time since Minnesota's had playoff basketball. They've got playoff basketball, so let them be happy and excited. Again, we've got college teams storming the court in the middle of the season for no reason. So let's everyone cool your jets here. But we've got more play in action tonight. Now, I know, Matt, you love betting the NBA. Was there anything you had on these?
I didn't know a ton about either of these teams. I think I like the Hawks because I remember last week when we did the show, you gave out Bulls -2.5 against the Hornets. The Hornets came out and absolutely stomped all over my Bulls. But before that, we were talking about the Hornets playing some pretty bad basketball. So I guess my inkling is to lean towards Trae Young being in the playoffs, coming back and kind of beating up on a Hornets team not playing their best. The second game, won't lie to you, I haven't watched a lick of the San Antonio Spurs at all this year and only know a little bit about the Pelicans. But I guess that first game was kind of leaning towards Hawks -5, but second game, kind of nothing for me.
That's basically where I am. I had this closer to Hawks -6, 6.5. Not enough of an edge for me to play the Hawks there, but I think that is the side to be on. They continue to play better. Now, John Collins is out. I think that really takes away kind of their ceiling, if you will. He really unlocks a lot of them defensively, takes care of a lot of stuff. But against the Hornets, I'm not sure it's going to be that big of a deal. My only concern will be is this has a chance to be an up and down game. But the surprising part about this series is these teams played 4 times this year and only once scored more than 225 points. So I wonder if those are more outliers. I wonder what this game looks like. Last night we saw both unders cash pretty easily. So these kind of have a feel like playoff games. And when things get tight, it's generally a little better for the Dogs. So, if this were a normal regular season game, Hawks -5 and maybe an over here, but given on that we've kind of made the switch to more of a playoff atmosphere. Still like the Hawks -5, but not sure what to do with that total. Wouldn't hold an under bet against you. And then I do have a bet, actually. I like the Spurs here. Spurs +5.5. They were really solid against this Pelicans team during the season. They've been playing better and better basketball. Popovich has been kind of working them back into form, if you will. Got a chance once they kind of locked in their position here in this 9-10 game, started to rest some guys. So they're going to come in here fresh. We know Brandon Ingram will be playing tonight, but not at 100%. I just think this is a nice matchup for the Spurs. Pirtle does as decent of a job on Valanciunas as anybody else, and then the guard play for the Spurs really kind of steps things up for them. I mean, it's a nice matchup for Keldon Johnson. DeJounte Murray should have a good game tonight. So give me the Spurs plus the points and what I think will be kind of a close game tonight. So lean Hawks, but I'll actually take the Spurs and the points.
Yeah, you mentioned that 235 being a little bit high, and when I first looked at it at first glance, I thought it's a 225, and then you're talking 235. I know I watch playoff basketball, but obviously playoff hockey I keep a closer eye on, and the sentiment is always, playoffs come around, game gets a little bit tighter, defense gets a little bit stronger, and teams pay a little bit more attention to that, and it gets a little more physical. Is that the same thing with basketball? Because 235, granted it's a playing game, but like playoff basketball, 235 screams way too high for me.
If you're going to play the under, take like 230, grab some plus money here because if it goes under, it goes way under. But yeah, exactly. That's what you see in playoff basketball. Teams have a more methodical approach on offense. You'll see teams run a little more interesting stuff. Again, they've had some time to look at the defenses on the other side of the ball. Defenses have had longer times to look at the offenses, and especially at the end of games because things are a little bit tighter, you'll see teams try to slow down and grind things out. Again, exactly what happened with that Nets-Cavs game last night. I think if that's a regular season game, maybe the pace stays up a little more. And again, the Cavs still could have gotten close, but I think we would have seen a lot more points. So yeah, it does. Things do tighten up.
Okay. Interesting. I think I'm gonna go Hawks in the under. I'm waiting for Dan to comment in the chat about why I should avoid the Hawks at all costs, because with the exception of the Braves now being world champions, I feel like Dan loves being a little bit pessimistic towards his teams. But I'm waiting for a comment there. But I think I'm leaning Hawks in the under. I think that's gonna be my bet for tonight. Oh, Dan has no idea what to expect for tonight. That's the most optimistic I think he's been about the Hawks in a while this season.
That's the nicest thing he said in months about the Atlanta Hawks. But you had a good day on the diamond yesterday. What do you got for us today? I see some more total bases. Yeah. Again, the Luis Robert, that was a cakewalk. And then I like this. We're laying extra runs.
Yeah, I'm starting to like these total bases bets. I took a lot of them with the White Sox last year because that was a team obviously I follow a little bit closer, so I had more of a feel for the game. I think I'm going to start taking a look at more of those around baseball, not just the team that I root for, watch every day. Starting with Nolan Arenado and the Cardinals, he's off to a fantastic year this year. I think he's got 3 homers, 3 doubles in 5 games. They're going up against Zach Greinke and the Royals. Zach Greinke is their quote-unquote ace, but he's not the pitcher he used to be, 3 or 4 years ago. Arenado's familiar being in the NL West with the Rockies. Greinke was in the NL West with the with Dodgers and the D-backs. So I like 2+ total bases there with the amount of extra base hits Arenado has in his home park. Feeling pretty good to start the year. He's an NL MVP candidate every year. I like those odds at even money for 2+ total bases. Astros Diamondbacks, going back to the well here. Astros gave out this bet yesterday. Astros only won 2-1. it's still a really good team against a pretty bad team. I think 3 of the 4 Diamondbacks losses this year have been by multiple runs. The one that wasn't was last night. I like the Astros. Framber Valdez is on the mound for them. He's a very good pitcher. I think Merrill Kelly throws for the D-backs. He had a fine first start, but I like the Astros. They're just a better baseball team here. It's a kind of a don't think, just shoot here. You get plus money on the run line with a team that hits as well as Houston. I'm going to take that. And my homer pick of the day, going back to the White Sox. Well, if they play tonight, I know we talked about yesterday. I got lucky with opening day weather. I just looked out my window here. It was
It's going to be a big
absolutely.
cancellation day, right? A big
We're
postponement day.
probably going to be canceled today. I would have to think, or at least delayed to tomorrow. The only issue is Seattle doesn't come back to town this year, so they have to play a doubleheader tomorrow. So I think they're going to try to get this one in, but or maybe get in 5 and then finish tomorrow or something. I'm not really sure, but it's going to be tough with the weather. But Andrew Vaughn's going to be in the lineup today because the White Sox are going up against the lefty. Andrew Vaughn is a incredibly talented, now second-year player who absolutely mashed lefties last year, struggled against righties. Being a righty hitter, that's something that will probably come along. But for now, they're kind of easing him into a platoon situation, taking on lefties. He's got 2 homers down the year, both against lefties. He's a very talented hitter, and going up against the lefty, granted, is the defending AL Cy Young Award winner and Robbie Ray. I like him going up against the lefty starter in early on in the season where they're still kind of feeling themselves, not quite in their groove yet, at plus 155 for a hitter that hits lefties really well in his own park. I like those odds a lot, so I'm not going to pass up on it. But that said, I would be a little bit surprised if they got that one in today. And if the weather keeps holding up like it is, and they do a let's try and get this one in, see if we can play 5 some innings, that might be one you worry about him getting cut short on at bats because the game becomes official. So ease into that, check the weather before you take it. But I like that if the game goes, full and they're able to play 9 innings.
I could take it, and that is pretty tricky. I mean, you only have to play 7 innings for it to be an official game.
5.5. Five and a
just
half.
5.5.
If the home team is trailing through the first half of the 5th, they got to play the bottom of the 5th. But yeah, 5.5 innings. So
Interesting. Well, got a little baseball hopefully this afternoon again. It looks like the weather's bad. I heard there's a couple games that look like they're at risk. Something going on in the Midwest there. We'll see how it goes. But we'll have
it's always how
doubleheaders.
it is
I
here
like
in April.
doubleheaders. But we still have some tennis because the weather's nice in Florida. They're just fine down there. Kind of an interesting story with yesterday's bets. Got a bunch of CLV on our parlay, but unfortunately, Miss Sharma pulled out of the tournament. So we'll have just one leg of that alive. Haley Baptiste, we got around 2:30 yesterday, is now 3:30 today. So a nice chunk of CLV for us. But double check your parlays. They should still be open. And if you're looking for Sharma, that's why she's not there. She decided not to come and is out of the tournament. But we still got the Baptiste leg at 1 in the afternoon. Now, the other bet we made yesterday, Alicia Parks, it was plus 105, and I assure you that this isn't a typo. The market disagrees with me here. They very much like Carolyn Dullhide. Parks has been bet against pretty heavily now, is all the way up to plus 150. I actually went in and took another half unit at this price. Again, I have this much closer than this line is. It's, Dullhide's still a favorite here, but, just barely. I mean, it'd be close to a pick 'em for me, honestly. That's why I like the plus money yesterday. So plus 150, I added another half a unit. Kudos to you. If you waited, you get a better price. And then we've got a nice underdog here for us later in the day. Coco Vandeweghe, Coco the Elder, if you will. We've got Coco Gauff now. And before Coco Gauff, there was Coco Vandeweghe. And she closes out things tonight around 5 o'clock. This match should start Eastern time, maybe 5:30. And look for Gabrielle Talaba or Talaba Lee, sometimes Lee. Again, unfortunately, when some of these people get married, they don't quite change their name. And there's some books that make the change, some that don't. But look for the dog playing against Coco Vandeweghe because she's going to be on clay. It's a really terrible surface for her. She just continues to be on the decline. And as much as she could use the ranking points, and I think she might actually, give a full effort here, she's just going to be kind of a fish out of water a little bit. And Lee, again, not the best player in the world, but have this match, honestly, less than 160 probably. I mean, the first number I came up with was plus 150, adjusted for some market stuff, and settled right around plus 170, plus 180. So plus 230, the plus 4.5 games, both look great. So I'll put a half a unit on the money line there, and then grab the 4.5 games as well, because I think Lee at least gets a set here and probably wins this match. So a nice underdog for us a little bit later before the basketball starts.
I'm a sucker for some juicy plus money numbers, so I'm glad you threw that one out. Leave those two out there. What time do those two get going?
The Coco match, the big dog, is at 4:13. I'm sorry,
Okay.
5:30 Eastern, and then it looks like Parks will be about 2:30 this afternoon or later.
Okay. So we got some time still.
So, what are we betting tonight? I mean, you're here. There must be some hockey, right?
Small slate tonight. We only got three for whatever the nights that they have the national games. Maybe it's they just want people watching the TNT broadcast. The NHL only has like 2 or 3 games on, so there's only 3 games on tonight. 2 of them are on TNT. Didn't really love a whole lot, but there is a kind of heavy favorites money line parlay. I decided to throw that in there on FanDuel. I have it at plus 104 right now. I have seen the lines both kind of moving throughout the day. I kind of had the tab open on FanDuel. It did get down to minus 102, and then it was back to like plus 102. So anywhere around plus 105 into the minus 110 range, I feel comfortable taking it. We bet the Kings last night minus 1.5 against my Blackhawks. That worked out very well at plus 172. They beat the Blackhawks 5-2. It wasn't really all that close. I think the Hawks cut it to 4-2, but late, and then the Kings made it 5-2 very quickly after. So it wasn't really all that much in doubt. But back-to-backs against teams like the Avalanche, who are fresher, who skate really well, against a team like the Kings, who are not a bad team by any means. They're likely going to be a playoff team, but they don't play quite as fast of a game as the Kings. They're going to try and slow things down, or as the Avalanche, excuse me. They're going to try and slow things down. That doesn't often work on second ends of back-to-backs against teams like the Avalanche, who are as good on offense as fast as they are. So I like the Avalanche money line at home there. And then the Rangers against your Flyers. I don't like betting against the Flyers when you're on the show because it always seems to come back to bite me. I don't know why. I don't know if you have a hex on me or something. It's like the only times the Flyers win every this year when I'm on the show betting against them. But we're going to take the Rangers money line here. Also played last night, but they lost a tough one to Carolina, who they're chasing in the division. They're now 2 points behind the Hurricanes in the division. They have a chance to make up those 2 points they lost last night, get themselves back in a tie. I really like their chances here. Again, I know it's on the second end of a back-to-back, but they're better than the Flyers. They're kind of getting into crunch time of the season here, and if they want to win their division, they're going to have to get the 2 points against teams like Philly. So this is a spot I trust them to go out and do that in. So this I think both money lines are around minus. I think the Rangers like minus 210, the Avs are like minus 250 or so, something like that. So not much value on them by themselves, but I think if you parlay them, get them right around even money. Whole lot of value there with these two very good teams, and the Avs obviously going up against the less fresh team. I like it. So Avs, Rangers, money line parlay. Watch some hockey on TNT. I think they're actually back to back.
I can dig it.
Don't even have to change.
It's usually how it goes.
Yeah,
I'm very much familiar with TNT and their bogarting of slates from time to time. So it looks like the NHL is adopting the same thing, which is good. We've got more hockey on TV. I'll definitely be flipping back and forth to that. Watching my Flyers probably get beat up.
Similar with how they do with the NBA. Now, no show will ever be as good as Inside the NBA because that broadcast. I'm not even like the biggest of basketball fans. I still tune in to watch that show because it's so entertaining. But TNT has done a great job with the NHL broadcast this year, and I'm glad they got it. They got a good panel. They seem to know what they're doing when it comes to hosting, previewing, recapping sports.
I love it. It's great. More sports, more better. That's all we got for you today. And, remember, folks, positivity is contagious. So why don't you spread a little positivity around? Give us a thumbs up. It'll help
Andy
us.
would
It'll
like
help you. You'll feel better. We'll feel better. Andy, wherever he is, will feel better. So give us a thumbs up, a like, all that good stuff. Thanks for watching, and we'll be back tomorrow.